Hello there, welcome to my channel. I am Dee from Embodied Sexuality Tarot. I am a spiritual practitioner, divinator, Reiki master, and here on this channel I like to talk about spirituality and bridge that with practicality as it relates to body and spirit, relationship with self, and relationship with others, okay? You might have seen in my intro that I make jewelry. Here's one of the bracelets I made. It's a tiger eye, nice grounding bracelet. So you can find items in my shop, as well as how to book me and some pre-recording readings if you're interested in that. All right. So this reading, I asked Spirit really quick before I started recording, and they want me to talk about work, career, acts of service. Okay. So that's what we're going to tune into, and let's go. Okay, we've already got Five of Wands and the Magician. So I feel like if you're working on manifestation, or if you're in a situation that's not really aligning, or that people aren't really coming together or seeing the same sort of side, with Five of Wands, I like to think of these as just different people's opinions or perspectives, and trying to figure out, where you fit into all that, right? So yeah, the biggest or the most effective analogy I can think of is like a puzzle, where you just find where each piece of the puzzle is unique, and it has a place in the bigger picture, in the full picture, but it's just figuring out where it goes. So I definitely see a message of like, utilizing your skill set and other people's skill sets. Hold on a minute. Okay, I thought my cat was doing something. Anyway, yeah, so there's a message of like, recognizing your strengths or your skill sets, and like figuring out how you fit into the bigger picture, okay? Now, this can be at your current place of work. This could be a place that you're trying to manifest, or it could just be maybe you're not certain what your strengths are or your skill set is, or that you're trying to put something together. But ultimately, we have the Magician here. The Magician here is the card of like, you have everything you need, okay? So the Magician, it has all of the elements. So we've got pentacles, we've got swords, we've got cups, and we've got wands, okay? So the Magician is all about utilizing your resources, acknowledging and kind of practicing. And also, the Magician is talking about experimentation, okay? So I feel like a lot of times people want to have all their stuff together before they make a move, but it's impossible to do that. You're going to have to learn along the way, okay? So I feel like the Magician is saying, or if you are saying, okay, I don't have this yet, or I can't do this yet, or whatever, because you feel like you need to be a certain way or hold yourself to a certain standard before you start, the Magician is like, no, just start, and you'll learn and grow and take in information as you continue along the path, right? So that's what I hear from the Magician. And also just saying, like, if you have the perception that like you don't have a certain skill set for something, yes, there's an element of learning about it, but also being open to learn from other people, okay? So we only live life through our own lens, our own perception, okay? And so does everybody else. And that's why collaboration is really important, okay? So be open to, so one, utilize your resources, your skill sets, what you already have in your kit, and then also acknowledge people who can support you with that and give you more information and support in that way, okay? Woo! Messages are flowing. All right, what else? Oh, growth of energy. Okay, so there's a confidence factor here. Keep going. Confidence and momentum. Creative blocks, okay? So growth of energy. So really quick before I get into this, I feel that astrology right now is important for a lot of us. I am not an astrologist. I know like basic information, but the reason that's coming through right now is because if we know what's happening energetically, around us, then we can kind of prepare better and move more in alignment with, how the planets are influencing us, influencing our systems, right? And so, okay, why is that coming through again? basically, I feel like it could be helpful for you to just kind of look up on YouTube like what's going on in astrology to kind of so that you're moving more in alignment with energies that are going to support you instead of working against energy. Okay, so I'm seeing that with the growth of energy here, where progress could be slow. So a quick example is like Jupiter is a planet of expansion, right? So just taking a peek at like what sign is in Jupiter or what's going on with that right now, it can help you kind of be like, oh, okay, so this isn't a good time to start this, or oh, okay, I can wait until this cycle to do this, and I can have more energy and momentum to support me with what I'm creating. Okay, so that's a message for somebody. We've got the card Creative Blocks. If you are an artist of any kind, you can offer all work to the divine, making it God's alone. I offer this for the highest good to benefit the planet. Release me from any blocks and restrictions. This may serve all who need. What I believe or feel this card is saying is that I think it's important to have goals, right? But I just feel like when you're creating something, it's an expression of you and what message you're trying to send out, or what feeling, or just what thing you're trying to send out, right? So I just feel like with this Creative Blocks card, it's very much like stop trying to force it, stop trying to think of what others might want to see, what others might want to take away from your pieces, your artwork, your writing, your products, your messages, whatever. Stop thinking about that and just allow yourself to be a channel for what needs to come through. And I feel like if you're doing that, then you're not focusing on, oh man, this only got 1 like, or this got 0 likes, or nobody has seen this and I've had it out for 7 days, things like that. Like if you're just creating authentically and putting into it what you feel called to, then people are going to come around in the right time. So I really feel like with this Creative Blocks card is very much like, stop trying to force it and just allow things to be a little bit more natural for you. And that way, what you're expressing is authentic, okay? Because people actually have a pretty good sense of, authenticity. So, like, people have a good sense of authenticity and what is coming through for them. So I just feel like create and then allow people to take it in whenever they're ready. And even if you're not creating for someone else, you can be just creating for yourself. You know what I mean? So if you're creating for yourself, then it's even more important to just kind of honor that, and allow, like, if you're a writer, for an example, this is me. So anybody else that can resonate with this example, all right? So if you're a writer, so like I'm a poet, I write poetry primarily when I feel like strong emotions. So if I feel like I'm in love, if I feel angry, if I feel hurt, things like that, that's when I will actually write, because then I feel like I need to get that emotion out and express it, right? So if you're just trying to write just because, like, if it's not for a job, if it's not for, you know, things like that, then don't really force yourself. So I would just, whatever your situation is, I don't know what your situation is, so but I just feel this card is very much like just allow yourself to be authentic and allow it to come a little bit more naturally. And there are some writing exercises for those of you who are a writer. This isn't gonna resonate with everyone, but there are writing exercises that can help get creative juices flowing without it being so forced. So I would just kind of Google that and look into that. That could be helpful. But for everyone else, definitely there's inspiration out in the world. And but ultimately this message here is just kind of like not focusing on results and just creating, right? Okay. What else? Okay, I just kind of flopped up Ace of Swords. What else? Financial securities. Okay. Magical power. So a song very briefly came through. I don't know if it has any significance, but I am clairaudient, so I'm going to go ahead and share it. It's it's from a Disney movie with Shia LaBeouf. It's called Holes, and they were like digging in a hole, and it's like the only song I remember from the movie. Anyway, they're like, dig it up, bone, something like that. Anyways, I feel like that might have came through because with this Ace of Swords, like I feel like you could have an idea that you kind of buried, that you didn't feel like it was a great idea or didn't know how to get started on it, or like, just it just seems like an idea that just kind of, or maybe even a dream as well, because I feel like it's just something that's reoccurring or that has stayed with you for years, or for that just kind of comes to mind, but you don't really kind of act on it. It could be an idea that, won't grant you, or you feel like it won't grant you financial security, at least not right away. It could be an idea that you have to, build over time and have to take a risk with. Okay, so the Ace of Swords, I feel like, and with this financial security card, I just feel like it's an opportunity for you to build financial security over a length of time. Um, so when we work our regular jobs, there a lot of the jobs, like if you're working for an organization, you get instant gratification. Well, it's not instant, but it's a little bit more regular, right? So you might get paid bi-weekly or every Friday or once a month. But you know when it's coming, right? And so I feel like with this Ace of Swords, this idea, it has potential in the long run to grant you a little bit more stability or a little bit more money than what you are currently getting. That's just how I feel. Take it if it resonates. Um, but I just feel like maybe you're kind of held back by the idea that you're gonna have to start from zero, or start at a certain place and have to build it up. Um, what else do you want to say about that? Cards. I just feel like you have a brilliant idea, and it could be something that other people haven't thought of before. It hasn't been done before, or if it has been done, you have a way of like making it more unique to you. You have a way of like reselling it or retelling it, or just kind of wrapping it up in a different box to where it's great. So I would pay attention to what your desires are right now, your thoughts are, your ideas in terms of how it relates to money and stability. Okay, what else? Okay, this did a like somersault, Eight of Swords. Okay, so I feel like something that's holding you back is fear. Hold on. And magical power. Okay. Rebirth. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like something that's holding you back could be fear, anxiety, or limiting beliefs primarily. It could be, I feel primarily limiting beliefs, but it also could be like people around you. Like if you shared this idea before and somebody was like, okay, now how would you do that? Like, no, you're silly. You can't do that. Or, saying some stuff like that and putting their limiting beliefs onto you. So I just feel like you kind of suppress yourself, suppress your creativity, and what that has done is suppress your power of manifestation, your power of dreaming. Okay, so when we get into like adulthood, well, even before then, so the power of the child, the symbolism of the child is that they are more connected to creativity, imagination, exploration, curiosity. Okay, those are important traits of the child. And so I feel like as we grow older, or if we're around certain people or situations, that can start to put other responsibilities on us, or routine structures on us that limit the power of curiosity, ideas, imagination, and things like that. Okay, so I really feel like something that would help you right now, in terms of your career, finances, potential for other money, and things like that, stability, long-term stability, is to open up your imagination, open up your creativity and curiosity. Okay, being a little bit less structured than you are now. Okay, we have Page of Swords, and I feel like Page of Swords is saying to stand up for your beliefs. Okay, what else? Page of Swords, stand up for your beliefs, but there's something about communication. So stand up for your beliefs in the sense of you don't have to adopt what other people are saying or what they believe. Okay, so you can hear somebody's opinion, but you don't necessarily have to agree with it. So with Page of Swords, I definitely feel like keeping your mind sharp. Yeah, keeping your mind sharp. So this could be and also if you're fearful of taking a leap or having the confidence for something, or whatever. If you're feeling trapped by limiting beliefs, or not being able to do something, Page of Swords says to kind of educate yourself in a way. So for me, I had debilitating anxiety previously in my life. And the way that I battled it and got better with it is I just learned about what I was anxious about, what I was fearful. Because I recognized that anxiety for me came from not having enough information. I didn't want to go to a place if I didn't know who was going to be there, how I was going to get there, what it looked like, if I was going to be safe, or just, who would, I needed information. So this Page of Swords is definitely saying like, hey, if you're experiencing this, if you're feeling, like your light is dimmed and you're a little bit constricted and just kind of closed-minded to some of your resources or things going on, educate yourself, look into it, strengthen your mind, sharpen your mind, okay? And also, with the Page of Sword, convincing yourself that you have the strength, the power, the knowledge, the tools to do it. And if you don't, looking into what you can learn more about. But yeah. Okay. What else? Okay, we have Eight of Swords again. Actually, I'm going to shuffle again. Okay. She came out again. Alright, Four of Cups. I feel like a lot of you guys are watching, or sitting on your hands. Metaphorically, of course. Oh, we got two cards. Magical power, cast away negativity. Yep. And good luck. Okay. One more. Oops. Oh, that card doesn't go in there. Growth of energy. I'm going to put that out because it just stood out for some reason. Creative blocks again. Okay. And self-sufficiency. Okay. So it's basically, same stuff that I've already been saying, but there's something else that is really important. This came out again, and with Eight of Swords and cast away negativity and magical power. So all this is saying to me that it's really going to be helpful to change your energy up. Okay. So changing your energy up, but growing it, cultivating it, freeing yourself, cultivating your confidence, cultivating and recognizing more of your power, your ability to create in the first place, right? And I feel like this starts with casting away negativity. Okay, how would you do that? Let me tune into some things. So we got creative block, self-sufficiency. It could be that, okay, so we do have self-sufficiency here. It says the ultimate self-sufficiency is relying on God. It doesn't mean hiding in a cave and saying, I don't need people. Instead, it's saying, God is my source and I am willing to receive all the help, love, and support that wants to come. So let me start with this. Earlier, I said something about when we had the Five of Wands, I was saying that, with the puzzle, everybody has their own perspective and value and stuff that they bring to the bigger picture. And I said something about, leaning into people that can help complete the picture for you and work together, support you and things like that. So with this, I feel like, you could have this mindset of if you receive help in a certain way or something like that, then you're being too reliant on somebody else. And so basically you could be somebody that doesn't like to ask for help or something like that. But with this, I'm going to read this again. The ultimate self-sufficiency is relying on God. It doesn't mean hiding in a cave and saying, I don't need people. That's really important because sometimes source, God, universe, whatever, sends people with knowledge, information, skills, or whatever to, meet us at a certain point of our path to help us continue, right? And so if you're out here like, no, I can do it on my own, or, whatever, you're basically denying opportunity, right? You're saying like, hey universe, I want this, but when you send help to me or like opportunities to me that I didn't get on my own, then I'm going to say no. So you're basically saying, hey, universe, I want this, but then also I don't, right? So I feel like that's a mindset. If that's a mindset that you carry, it could be helpful to go ahead and kind of release that and kind of redefine what self-sufficiency means to you, redefine what support and help looks like for you in a way that feels safer, okay? And what I mean by that is like, if the word help is activating for you because you're like, well, if I use the word help, or if somebody's helping me, then that means that I am just worthless and I'm just it can mean that for some people, right? So if the word help, means that to you, then like I said, you can redefine it, or you can use a different word that will help you kind of create a mindset to receive help, support, love, opportunity, right? So those are even alternatives that I just listed. Okay. And then with this castaway negativity, we already kind of touched on that in terms of the mindset. But I just want to reiterate, earlier I did talk about if you have people around you who have limiting beliefs, and so that would be some negativity that you would want to disassociate yourself from or distance yourself from. Or I mean, you can interact with people like that, but like I said, sharpen your mind and make sure that you have that you're certain in yourself and your beliefs and what your skills are, to be able to not take on their limiting beliefs. Okay, so basically you have to cultivate, enough confidence, enough security in yourself and your skills, to where when people say negative things or limiting things, that it doesn't even impact you. You just brush it off, right? Okay, but don't worry, I'm going to tune into how you can do that, okay? Let's see. Let's get into that right now. So let's go ahead and tune into what are some ways that you can cultivate confidence and security in yourself. What are some ways, please? Let's do 3. 1, 2, and 3 here. Okay, 7 of Cups. Okay, hold on. I want to start with the 7 of Cups here because there's something about... So when you try different things... I'm trying to not cast a shadow. Sorry about that. But when you try different things, then you know what you like, what resonates with you, what works out with you, and just kind of you can tune into that. So I just feel like maybe trying different things, but I feel like there's another way I can say that. Allowing yourself to explore different perspectives, allowing yourself, and when I say perspectives, I mean more education. Like I said, Page of Swords earlier, educating on if you make bracelets, for an example, okay, learn about different threads, learn about different beadings or crystals or something, and see what you gravitate towards in that to help develop that and cultivate that skill set, right? So with the 7 of Cups, I just feel like explore and try different things so you can see what sticks for you. And then you'll have more of a sense of what your calling is, what your direction is, and what feels good to you, right? Okay, because we want to do things that feel good to us. All right, keep going. So how can they cultivate confidence? 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups says to kind of, like I said earlier, distance yourself. Well, wait, hold on. No, this is more about... So she's looking at these 3 cups here, and then there's this new opportunity that's right here. So I really feel actually the 4 of Cups is talking about stop dwelling on the negatives, right? So I feel like you could be somebody with a mindset of okay, I don't have this, I can't do this, I don't know how, I don't have the resources. So it's just always this negative of nothing, right? But you do have. This is being offered to you, all right? So I just feel like switching the mindset and focusing more on what you have to work with versus what you don't have. Say it with me now. Focus on what you have to work with versus what you don't, okay? I feel like that's really important. All right, what else? Let me stop and take a drink real quick. Whew. Okay. Okay, we got King of Pentacles. Um, let's see here. What are you saying, King of Pentacles? The King of Pentacles, I feel like, well, this is the energy of, like, the ram. So it's the Pentacles, but we also have this here. So I'm getting kind of like, okay, I'm getting Capricorn, I'm getting Aries, I'm getting Taurus. So there's a stubbornness that's coming through with this right here, because this is what I'm focusing on. So there's a stubbornness. Um, but what do you want to say about that stubbornness? What's going on, King of Pentacles? Excuse me. I'm also getting a message real quick about there's a city behind him, and instead of him being a part of the city, he's out here on his own throne. So I just feel like, you know, there's this like they ventured out on their own. Like they kind of distanced themselves from the norm, and they got comfortable in the uncomfortable. So I feel like something that can help you kind of build confidence is like doing things out of order in a way, which is actually kind of interesting because Pentacles is about stability, you know what I mean? But no, I read intuitively, and I really feel like there's something about doing something outside of your normal routine, outside of your normal process or structure. Um, Anyways, we got clarifying cards here. Let's take a look at them. So we got being enough and independence. Let's start with independence. The more you learn to feed yourself on the inside and care for the inner child, the more freestanding you become. Help me feed and love this inner child, dear Lord. Okay, I can definitely see that. So what I was talking about with like kind of venturing outside of a normal structure you have, I feel like with this independence card is kind of like it's talking about nurturing the inner child. So I feel like, you know, doing more activities. Okay, first of all, doing more activities out in nature, um, but playful things. You know, doing things that light you up. And like I said, exploring creativity, curiosity, things like that. So yeah, that's really interesting to get that from Pentacles. But it says the more you learn to feed yourself on the inside and care for the inner child, the more freestanding you become. Yeah. So there's something about, just kind of spending time with yourself. Okay, getting to know you. That's what it is. When you get to know you, you know what you like, or here we go. You know what you like and don't like. You know what resonates with you. You know what, sticks and is your jam. You know what I mean? And so, like, when you take the time to, like, get away from certain structures or certain routines or whatever and explore Seven of Cups, okay, then you're getting to know yourself. And I sometimes when I've done romantic readings, it has come up to like date yourself sometimes so that you're comfortable with taking yourself out on your own and like becoming familiar with how you would like to be treated, right? So I feel the same thing where it's like if you take the time to get to know yourself a little bit more, then you it's like what it says, the more freestanding you become. And so then you're not easily swayed by, outside influences. And that's why we got that King of Pentacles, because this is someone who's know themselves so well, inside and out. They know what they like, what they don't like, what they stand for. And there's a quote, hold on. If you don't stand for something, then you'll fall for anything. Okay? So you create your own throne by cultivating it with, by yourself. But by taking that time to just get to know yourself is what I mean. Okay. And then being enough. The innermost heart says you are enough. Nowhere to go, nothing to get, nothing to change. No need to grow more deserving. You, yes, you are love. And I really feel this message combined with that, once you know yourself well enough, then you're not swayed by other influences, or anxiety creeping in, or doubts creeping in, or that stuff just doesn't even come up anymore, because you know what you're capable of. And so that's why, combining this message with this message of like focusing on the positives, what you bring to the table, what your skills are. And if you, like I said, if you don't know what your skills are, explore it. Hello? Figure it out. Okay. All right, last message, you guys. Five of Cups. So releasing what you need to release. Let's get a little bit more on that. Clarify. Good luck. Finding love. So this is a message of, okay, I'm going to say this as politely as possible, but I did get like just a download of not crying over spilled milk. And so I feel like, basically, I feel like what this is saying here is, if you've experienced loss, or if you're thinking of things from a lack mindset, or that things aren't always working out, or just if you're thinking of like a losing streak, something like that, that there's always some sort of positive to be seen in it. There's always some sort of alternative perspective that you can take away from it. Okay, and so that's what I feel this good luck and the ladybug is really coming through, of like seeing the sun, or like basically, like, nighttime doesn't last forever, right? We cycle around back into the sun. Okay, the rain doesn't last forever. A rainbow comes out eventually, right? So I just really see like this completion of cycles, and kind of being aware of that instead of staying in one part of the cycle. Okay, so yeah, allowing emotions to flow through, allowing situations to flow through and complete their cycles. Okay, so there's definitely like an element of like letting go. I also, for this, I would recommend like letting go or releasing meditations. Okay, you can find those on apps or maybe on YouTube or something. But yeah, those can be kind of helpful, because you can kind of revisit memories if you need to, and just kind of look at it from a different light. But usually those are like guided meditations that help you kind of reframe the mindset. So yeah, that's why I said it would be helpful maybe to look into that for this situation for you, if meditation has proven to be something supportive for you. All right. So there we go. Honestly, I feel like you guys, I'm being drawn back to the Magician, where it's basically the Magician was saying to you guys, you have everything you need. It's not too late to start. If you feel like you don't have enough, or that you need to learn more, you can do that along the way. Okay, so, I just want to reiterate that, because I felt like that was a very important message. If you're new here, I'm going to wrap up your reading with self-care cards. This is something to help you process the information or add into your self-care routine if you feel called to. Okay, we got two. The first one is an affirmation. I'm going to do that last, because I want to leave you with an affirmation. So this is, offline is my new luxury. Take 15 minutes to switch off all your electronic devices like mobile phones, computers, and television. Use this time to reconnect with yourself and be unavailable to the rest of the world. You can also commit to develop this practice into a longer offline time every day. So I definitely see use this time to reconnect with yourself as something, I've already kind of mentioned. So I really like this confirmation here. But also, too, the thing with social media is it can be a distraction, and it can keep us from connecting with our body and spirit, because we're consuming, cat videos. We're consuming other people's lives that aren't even really real most of the time, So we're constantly consuming when we're on social media. And so this is a method that can help you, Seven of Cups, kind of tune into yourself and your own processing. But also, another thing with social media is that if we're consuming other people's lives and what they're good at and stuff, that can lead to some inferiority, or this idea that we don't have enough, or that we can't do it because, one, somebody else is doing it, and also because they're better at it. But the thing is, they're doing it in their own way. Another thing I said earlier was like, you have this idea of something, it could be that something that somebody else is doing. However, you are unique and you can put your own spin on it. Do you know how many tarot channels there are on YouTube? And I'm out here doing this, you know what I mean? But I speak differently, I communicate differently, and I'm putting my own spin on it. So I just feel like, taking time away from social media, it can help you reduce comparing yourself to others if that's something that you're doing. All right. And I will leave you with this affirmation. All right. I am open minded. I keep myself open to new perspectives and opinions. All right. I love you guys. Take care. Thank you for watching. I know you can do this. Good luck on your journey.